Scott, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for coming. Can you tell us a little bit about who you are and what brought you to Eleusinia Retreat?
Wow, I'm so honored. I'm so humbled just to even be asked to be a part of something like this. Since my adolescent years, I've always been a seeker, and with the confirmation of something more is out there and available. And I found that in lots of different ways. I've found fulfillment in religion, helping to augment my spiritual walk that had barriers that didn't speak to me, kept me seeking for something more. And I came across, I'm not exactly sure where I came across the website. Started talking with Jessica and finding out that she had a very A-type personality that was checking off scientific findings in regards to what I was sensing was available through psychedelic experiences. And therefore, I signed up for the retreat. Originally, when I signed up, it was just more of highlighting what I thought I was smelling on my path, on my own personal journey. From the time I'd signed up to today, I've been diagnosed with cancer, stuff that I had addressed aggressively originally with treatments and chemo and radiation, 7 weeks specifically on a daily basis, only to come out of that with a report that the mass did not respond to the treatments and that surgery was in order in regards to remove some of my lymph nodes, and really more will be revealed with that. And that puts me really here today with my continued search for what is that? Gosh, I was walking around the beach and I was just thinking, at birth, the first thing we do is take a breath, a breath of air, and that brings life to our bodies. And on the tail end of our lives, the last thing we do is take a breath, and so something that we take so for granted day in and day out, our breath, and how vital it is. What I can say is it's given me a chance to stop a well-needed interruption of distractions and calamity and reports and bills and life and media that tells me what's important. Put a 90-day time frame on your life and then tell me what's important. And that's kind of where I'm at right now. It's not good and it's not bad. It just is. Eleusinia has given me opportunity to push myself away from the table of business and life and what this world tells me is so important, and really look and seek and find what is important. And it's just right now, every breath we take is holy. It's divinely inspired and aligned for our existence. And every step we take is holy ground, is spiritual territory. It doesn't have to be found or fought for. It just is. And the sensitivity to know that every day, every moment, every breath, every word is sacred. And we just take it for granted. The team here, whoever curated all of this, is incredible. Incredible touches in a way that words would not do justice. My time here has been a significant touch that I truly believe will echo for decades, centuries beyond, because of the influence that you've had on me. And I'll be able to echo that influence upon those that I love and feel the need to share. It's humbling. It's the only thing that comes to mind. feel like I've been shown love in a brand new way. In turn, I'll be able to express it in a brand new way, love in a brand new way. And the term "me first" is my battle cry. I would be honored and privileged to be able to lay my life down for a purpose that I feel is a greater calling in such a needed lost world. This is brand new transformation taking place. And to be here is just a blessing.
What were your experiences on the mushrooms as you have come with so much on your mind, so much, in your heart?
The psychedelic experience has to be experienced personally. For me, it's a heightened awareness of what is. And I can't really put my finger on it other than when I look at you, when I look at Jessica, when I look at anybody that is in my tribe this week, we know it's me too. We look at each other and we just go, me too. And there's an acceptance and a love that's needed everywhere in this world today.
Was there anything else specific that happened in your experiences, the multiple experiences that you had?
Just what is granted actually was abrupt interruption, needed abrupt interruption that I had no power of negotiating the terms. I just had to surrender. And how that's created is through the treatments that are here, whether it be psilocybin or whether it be DMT. It is a welcome, needed interruption of a hard drive program I've been operating on for so long that there was no other hack that was going to work. I mean, I've tried so many different avenues. I'm going to yield to this.
So you're really feeling that you can't negotiate the terms and you don't know what's going to happen next. The reality is none of us do, but you specifically are leaving retreat, going back to surgery.
Yeah, literally, I get home the 18th. Currently live in Oklahoma. I arrived the 18th, and then I fly to Houston to MD Anderson Cancer Center, check in on the 22nd for pre-op, surgery on the 25th, scheduled the 25th, and the 26th, I'm released. The 27th, I have no idea what that looks like for me at all. I feel like, honestly, that there was a spontaneous healing moment. It just happened. And I won't be surprised if test results in the pre-op come back like, what the fuck? What are you even doing here? There's nothing here. I honestly believe that.
So you feel a renewed vitality. So it's not even just hope. Yeah. You've come to a place of surrender.
Well, it's neuroplasticity, and it's rewiring the brain on how it responds to certain stimuli. You're remapping the brain and the way we process health challenges, mental challenges, spiritual challenges, emotional challenges. A lot of that is, in my opinion, obvious low-hanging fruit. And I don't mean to little sort of challenges that people have, but me particularly, I'm dealing with a physical malady that it's not a symptom. It is in me, was growing in me, that I'm going to bet that my train of thought about what's happening, what's in me, is going to change what is happening in me, if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
I'm willing to be wrong,
Uh-huh.
I'm willing to be right. And I'm going to bet that I might be at the forefront of it, but this is where it's headed, is the reshaping of modern medicine is what I honestly believe is happening here.
Do you wish you had the opportunity to have gotten the relationship and sort of the situation and the contained environment that you had here at retreat earlier in your life?
Yes. We've got Max, 21 years old. His parents sent him here. What a gift. I mean, what a gift. What a paradigm shift. What is that going to project into a young man's life? I mean, I'm 50 fucking 9, you know, and he's 21. I mean, how is this going to change the trajectory of his life and his living and where he makes decisions from? Phenomenal, phenomenal, you know, a fiery arrow into the world. Absolutely.
A fiery arrow into the world. That's badass.
Totally. Little Max. I didn't like it, but I call him Maximilian. And in turn, he calls me Scottamillion. How does that feel? Well, it doesn't work, Max.
While you were at retreat, knowing that you had a diagnosis that someone had given you 90 days to live and you're willing to do anything outside of the box to find some different routes, do you feel like the people around you don't get it? Do you feel isolated? Do you feel like nobody gets how short we have potentially in this life?
I would never wish it on anybody. I would never put it on my enemies. But I tell you what, I would never give it back. I would never give this paradigm shift back. It is invaluable.
What's happened to you now?
Yeah, to have that sense of time, possibility of time, is catalyzing. You see relationships, you see people, you see interactions as valuable or invaluable. They bring life or they don't bring life. You know, that's such words, bring life or they bring death. Really, there's very few idle words, very few idle relationships. And it's given me the power and the strength to sever and then empower and enrich other relationships. But yeah, there's been several relationships that, lack of a better term, toxic. You know,
Uh-huh. How, as you're going forward, you're leaving retreat, you know, here at Eleusinia, we teach cultivation, but you have a lot of things that you're going to do, you know, having surgery, having recovery before you can even begin to cultivate.
and I'm moving.
Yeah. And you're moving. So there's like major shifts. How are you planning to use the mushrooms? Are you going to stay on a weekly dosing schedule?
Maybe start off with a macro, setting that time apart. And even though here it's very palms facing up, wide open, you know, application, resignation, everything in between sort of format, I'm going to try to put some intentionality in regards to specific needs and wants and desires and direction, which I think I've gained some great traction and purpose. And not only that, hopefully bring something back here that you'll be able to say, we have found in a particular case that with intention, forefront, during, and after follow through, substantial results.
Do you plan on telling the doctors at the cancer center that you're eating psychedelic mushrooms?
Well, the ones that are important are on board. The ones that more westernized, I would say, more clinical sort of, I fired. You know, I don't. Well, I asked them if there was anything else I needed to know from the reports, and they said no. And I grabbed the report, snatched it out of his hand. I said, "You're fucking fired, and you're a disgrace to your industry. To bring me this information without other options available is irresponsible. You know, this is sacred territory. This is my life." And they deliver it as if the daily news. And it was my back was against the wall, and I reacted as, not very eloquently. If I was going down, I was going down without a fight.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people, being a nurse of 15 years, it's sometimes it takes people a lifetime to be able to stand up to their doctors, because for so many years we've given them such profound authority over the rest of our lives. And you could have been an individual who just said, okay, you're right, I have 90 days to live. And what date did they tell you that?
December 22nd.
And so now it is April.
Yeah.
So you've already moved past that 90 days. Not to say they ever give an accurate guess, they can't really, but I just wanted to take a moment to remind people that you are your own advocate in your own healing journey, and it's not going to look one way. We all heal in a different way. And I'm not here to say, okay, taking mushrooms change your entire directory, but I know that having a relationship with psychedelics is a piece of your healing wheel to get you forward, whatever your best quality of life is going to look like.
Absolutely. That is so, yes, understood. It really is. But my option was to have my tongue removed, part of my throat, with a tracheotomy. I would be on a feeding tube full time, and speaking through a voice box was my option for survival. And no.
Yeah, that's a lot different than losing a leg, losing breasts, losing your uterus. I mean, it's even a lot different than losing part of your brain, to be honest. I mean, everything that makes up who you are is those things, your voice, your truth.
Yeah. It breaks my heart to think of how many before me swallowed that pill, and went through with the surgeries, or the haunting deal that I have now is the ones after me.
You said you couldn't set the terms, like you had no ability to set the terms. And so there was this huge let go, you had to surrender. I'm curious about where courage lies with surrender, because they seem opposite, but in fact, for you, they're not.
Right. I mean, through utter surrender, you gain absolute victory. Yeah, through surrender of acceptance of what is. Acceptance is the whole deal of what is. And it's neither bad or good. It just is.
Was there any of your psychedelic experiences that were really challenging while you were here, that hurt, that were emotionally difficult, but worth going through,
I personally did not experience that at all. More than anything, it gave me a 1,000-foot view of situations that I was able to negotiate without the personal, emotional, and spiritual turmoil in those moments. Exactly. It gives me it's hard to deal with it as a human, but as in the psychedelic state, it gives me a 1,000-foot view to say that there, and then return and have those decisions made without the turmoil that was existing previously, just relationally or emotionally, mentally, having tension or trauma. It seemed like my best self showed up and was able to make the calls for my life without being involved in all the messiness of life.
Wow. That's really beautiful.
Yeah.
So when you go back, you're planning on saying, hey, check me out first, because I really feel like I may have approved, like give me that opportunity to get
Absolutely.
a new scan.
Absolutely. Yeah. Beyond a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah. I commend you for being such an advocate for yourself.
Everybody has to, otherwise you're just along for the ride, and the ride is feeding the world of big pharma and that whole industry and surgery and the pharmacy that goes along with it, and the infrastructures and the mega structures that I think we have no idea. After I came out with the 7 weeks of chemo and radiation daily, I got COVID, and then I got pneumonia, and I had pneumonia for 7 weeks. In pneumonia, I coughed out like 2 hernias. So I got the hernias repaired. For some reason, I got the invoice for the hernia surgery. It was $103,000. I was in there for 3 hours.
Oh my God. That's crazy.
And I looked online to see how much is a hernia repair, and I had a double hernia. So, I mean, I'm looking at $8,000, $10,000, $12,000 just Googling the amount. But yet my insurance is being billed $103,000.
Well, yeah, it's totally crazy. It's totally crazy.
What is going on? And it happens every day, all day long. When I was having that surgery, they had literally us lined up back to back, could see each other in the gurneys going into the surgery room.
Mm-hmm.
Just billable numbers.
Mm-hmm. If you have like 20 years after all this, are you going to continue to be in the space of psychedelics?
Oh, yes, absolutely. Beyond a shadow of a doubt. This is what's coming. Psilocybin is in the chute for FDA approval. Ketamine is another one that I have experience with that's been fantastic. LSD, all of these psychedelic, mind-altering drugs grant us access to new levels of consciousness and new levels of the capacity to remap our train of thought and the way, and even subconsciously, what our brain does as it combats all the things it has to do to keep us going. I mean, our body is incredible, magnificent machine.
Absolutely.
It takes a lot to keep this thing going.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And it keeps going.
And it keeps going. We've evolved into this civilization of what it is. And I think what this is giving us is the opportunity to take some of that back as the incredible creatures that we are. I mean, yeah, you can say there's malady all over the world that could be better, but really, we've been doing pretty good for thousands and thousands of years.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty fucking good,
mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I just think this is a recapture of some territory we've lost into the darkness.
You seem like someone who really didn't necessarily need the education that the retreat provided, because you seem very smart and like you'd be able to figure it all out on your own. Did you find it helpful anyway to be held in the container of the space that was provided for you to go with the 5-gram large doses that you did on multiple occasions?
Absolutely. We weren't made to figure this out alone. We were meant for relationship. We thrive in relationship. Some people thrive more in community than others, and I'm kind of middle of the road where I need my private time, but I also need community. I know that I'm my best when I'm balanced in community and personal time.
Me too.
So to come together and find a tribe for a week, that's my tribe for a week,
that are real humans, because you get to talk to everybody here, and they're suffering too.
Yeah, it's a Me Too club.
Yeah, it's a Me Too club.
Yeah, it's beautiful. And not only that, again, the term fiery arrows out into the world. We are your fiery arrows out into the world.
Fiery arrow.
Yeah, I love that analogy.
What did your daughter think when you were like, I'm going to go to a psilocybin retreat? Because you actually kind of did 2 back-to-back retreats.
Yeah.
What, did you think you were crazy?
Well, I have 3 daughters actually, and my oldest daughter she is one of my heroes. No, she's an absolute advocate she's on board. She's not. She is her daddy's daughter. It's not far from the fort for her. It's not a far stretch. We're all in alignment. She's probably more forward thinking than myself in regards to this sort of medicine.
You would like to see more of this, like more retreats, Eleusinia, to keep going with especially with the science basis and the medical forefront.
And the science base is necessary for those that need that. I personally did not need that, though it was kind of like a stamp in my passport to say, see, it's real.
Especially when you're going back to such Western medicine, at least you had your feet on the ground and a little bit in the science, though I can see that you don't necessarily need that because you've been through a lot in your life and you have your spiritual foundation because of it.
Yeah. Embarrassed or proud, but 14 years old was, my first psychedelic experience. And from then on, me and my buddies or girlfriends or whoever at the time looking at each other going, what was that? I mean, it was so real. Is it just drug induced? Or no? Yes, it is drug induced, but it is real. It's very real. And unfortunately, we took a detour for a couple decades because the laws came and interrupted the original use for LSD, and I think we're getting a return back to it. But now we have greedy big pharma that doesn't, they have their foot on the neck of this. This is the last thing they want, is people healing themselves. What I honestly believe is available here on so many levels, on the psychological, on the physical, literal, physical, medical, rehabilitation. The ramifications of these sort of findings is staggering and threatening to big pharma. I mean, it's the last thing they want. They want you on something forever,
Yeah, the humanity in a situation like this where we can focus on empowering each other and teaching each other, really.
Absolutely.
Because especially when you see people with depression that they've, been on SSRIs since they were 12 years old, or people that have had debilitating chronic pain and, haven't been able to live a normal life outside of bed since they were 15 years old. And then to get to see small changes and potentially terminal cancer, which hopefully we're going to go back and see some movement.
We will.
And we're going to follow up. And yeah, I'm just so grateful that I got to meet you and we got to hear your story.
Oh, stop it. You know what? It's exactly how it was supposed to be. And I am so humbled by the team here. So humbled. And it's a beautiful touch, with integrity in class and loosely, as close as you want it and as distant as you want it. It's just well managed and curated, and it's a significant touch.
Were you scared with all that was on your head coming in? Were you scared about what a psychedelic experience would be when you had so many burdens on your heart and in your mind?
No, I really wasn't. I was scared. I'm terminally unique. They're never going to understand. Nobody's got my story. Nobody, I am exactly that, terminally unique.
Yeah, I think we're going to have to name this podcast Terminally Unique. That's pretty badass.
Yeah. And that terminal uniqueness, the more that we turn ourselves inside out and spill it on the table, we're so similar.
Wow.
We are so similar. It's frighteningly familiar.
Is there anything else that we didn't get to say?
Man, all I can say is, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that love conquers all, and that looks so different in so many different arenas. But, I'm redefining love every step that I make. It's evolving, changing, growing. It will revolutionize this world. And that looks a lot like putting you first. That looks a lot like living a life of service. And that means for me right now.
Will you stay in touch with us? Good. Okay, good.
Stop texting me.
Damn.
Just kidding. I'm just kidding. It's me texting her.
Well, thank you so much. And yeah, it was an honor to meet you. And I have, and our whole team just has really, really want to hear how you're doing and how it goes and how you continue to stand up for yourself and be an advocate for your own right, for your terminal unique power.
This is my favorite nurse in the whole world. Just want to let you know. She says she's a nurse. She's just that she's so much more. So much more. She's a heart and presence and a smile that captivates a room. A spirit and a heart that is undeniably of service. And because of that, I'm honored to be in your presence. You know, yeah, you're a very sweet, sweet person.